Lewis Hamilton wants big things from the W15 next season and has laid down his request to the development team at Brackley. It seems like the 7-time world champion has had enough of the mediocrity and is definitely ready to fight back next year and even compete for the title against Red Bull. But will it happen? And will they rise to the level of the Austrian team that started developing their new car much earlier than Mercedes did? This is a question that will only be answered once March comes. The development of the W15 is in full swing at Brackley, and the first positive news regarding the 2024 machinery has arrived. While the team's statements from Abu Dhabi didn't initially paint an optimistic picture for the W15, recent reports from the factory suggest otherwise. Toto Wolff, in a warning to his rivals, has hinted at significant advances in the W15 project, diverging from the cautious tone set in Abu Dhabi. Mercedes has weathered 2 challenging seasons consecutively, but with the past behind them, they are now focused on the 2024 season. Drawing from the lessons of the last 2 years, a new project is underway from the upcoming campaign, and despite the season ending only recently, Wolff is already making bold claims about the W15 speed, surpassing even the W14. This assertiveness differs from Ferrari's optimistic statements in 2022 about the SF23 speed in 2023, which ultimately didn't materialize. Wolff's optimism comes from a new core concept and aerodynamic philosophy confirmed by Mercedes for the W15, and this approach is unprecedented within the current F1 grid. Mercedes also acknowledges drawing inspiration from their customer teams, Aston Martin and McLaren, which outperformed them in 2023. Despite lower standings, these teams provided crucial insights, demonstrating substantial performance gains in a tightly regulated era. Williams too played a role in Mercedes' learning process, showcasing valuable lessons in achieving top speed on tracks like Monza and Spa through a concept shift in core mechanics, platform and aerodynamic design. Mercedes appears to be taking a significant gamble with the development of the W15, a move that could potentially leave the Brackley-based squad without a race win for the next 2 years if unsuccessful. However, insights into the implementation of the new concept for the W15 suggest that this gamble might indeed pay off. The years 2022 and 2023 served as an extensive data collection period for the Silver Arrows, but the team's focus extends beyond its own data. McLaren, Aston Martin and Williams' data are being examined with equal importance. One crucial lesson learned from Mercedes' customer teams is the reliability and efficiency of the mechanical parts designed and produced by Mercedes, including the gearbox, rear suspension, engine and electrical components. These shared components proved to be non-flawed and did not require extensive redesigning. The success of the customer teams in areas where Mercedes faced challenges throughout the year highlights the issue does not lie within the shared components produced by Mercedes. Instead, it points to potential areas of improvement such as the aerodynamic department. This strategic approach suggests that Mercedes is not only relying on its own experiences, but is also leveraging valuable insights from its customer teams to address weaknesses and enhance overall performance. This is a subject Toto Wolff recently discussed on the F1 Nation podcast, highlighting the potential for a substantial performance improvement of up to 2.5 seconds. Wolff emphasized a positive aspect of Aston Martin's competitiveness early in the season, noting that it clarified that the rear end, gearbox, engine and rear suspension were not the root problems. Having teams on the same specification allowed for a clear understanding of the significant progress made by Aston Martin, going from being one of the slowest teams to firmly holding the number 2 spot. Wolff believes this demonstrates the potential for a significant leap forward when unlocking untapped performance rather than merely adding incremental downforce. Even Hamilton urged them to not make mistakes when it comes to the car and to not make it a replica of the W14. Doubling down on its zero side pod concept at the start of the year, Mercedes quickly discovered that it had the wrong idea and brought upgrades of a more conventional side pod design to Monaco. While progress was made by the team as it finished second in a constructors, it failed to win a race for the first time since 2011 and scored 409 points to Red Bull's 860. It has committed to revolution rather than evolution from the W13 to the W14 last winter, and Hamilton is keen for the feeling to drastically change. There have been a few positives, such as getting pole position in Budapest, which we didn't think was going to be possible when I first drove the car, Hamilton told the media. The upgrade that we saw in Austria and the fact that with a couple more laps we could have been in shooting range for a win show that we are slowly morphing this car into a more competitive machine. It's gotten more enjoyable to drive and to be in a position where you actually go forward rather than backward. It's been positive, but it is still not fundamentally a winning car, and that is what we've got to change next year. The dream is to make sure that when we start in February next year, the car is not a replica of this year's car and feels exactly the same, but I am pretty sure that's not going to be the case. Even Toto Wolff went as far as saying he expects a whole 2.5-second improvement, which I think is very bold but intriguing. Speaking on the F1 Nation podcast to a panel including Aston Martin ambassador and driver Pedro de la Rosa, Wolff was asked by the Spaniard what he expects from his Mercedes team for the 2024 season. It was good that Aston Martin was so competitive at the beginning of the season because that, at least for us, made it clear that the rear end is not the problem, the gearbox is not the problem, the engine is not the problem, the rear suspension is not the problem. We had to look elsewhere. That's why I like having teams that are on the same spec. And the second thing is the step that Aston Martin made from last year, being among the slowest teams to the beginning of this season and being number 2. It shows that if you unlock potential, then you can take a big step forward, not just bolting on a 1/10 of downforce, and this is just what we need to find. So we're going to make a 2.5-second step like Aston Martin did, declared Wolff. Comparisons were drawn to McLaren's in-season upgrades that yielded a 1-second performance leap, suggesting that significant improvements are plausible over the winter break. The ongoing complete overhaul of the car at Brackley, involving every aspect of the Mercedes machinery, enhances the likelihood of substantial performance gains. Mercedes, with ample data, not only from their own experiences but also from their customer teams, is well equipped for analysis. James Allison, who has been leading the development since 2020, is once again at the forefront of Mercedes' development efforts. The challenge is to identify ways to achieve this remarkable performance gain. 2 primary methods are being employed. First, a focus on pure aerodynamics, drawing inspiration from McLaren's success in this area. Mercedes is working on a new aerodynamic principle, coupled with positive changes to the monocoque and the car's mechanical platform, including the suspension system. Second, beyond aerodynamics, Mercedes is exploring other segments to enhance performance, especially since the power unit freeze came into effect in 2022. The combination of these approaches reflects Mercedes' commitment to a comprehensive strategy for achieving the targeted performance leap in the W5 for the 2024 season. Mercedes has acknowledged that the power units haven't been the primary focus, but they have asserted the capability to make improvements to their power units for the 2024 season. Previous constraints on cooling, as seen in the W3 and W14, led to reduced power usage for higher reliability. Despite this, Mercedes believes their power unit is world-class, and the new aerodynamic direction taken by the engineers at Brackley is expected to allow significant improvement to the car's cooling system. Mercedes is confident that this enhancement in cooling will showcase the true class of their power unit, emphasizing the interdependence of reliability and power in modern Formula One standards. Teams often sacrifice some power for higher reliability, as demonstrated by Ferrari's approach in 2023. Mercedes aims to reverse this trend, ensuring a gain in final power output for the 2024 season. An engineer from the Mercedes team noted that data and statistics analyzed at Brackley prove the competitiveness and effectiveness of the Mercedes powertrain, often outperforming competitors in terms of power deployment and total power output. The combination of advancements in both aerodynamics and powertrains has fueled Mercedes' optimism for the 2024 season. Toto Wolff's assertion of a 2.5-second performance leap for the W5 is based on this comprehensive approach. The optimism stems from the belief that Mercedes can address both aerodynamic and powertrain aspects, resulting in a significant overall performance breakthrough. The question remains, is a 2.5-second performance leap a realistic target for Mercedes with the W5's development? The answer depends on the success of Mercedes' initiatives and the efficiency of their improvements in both aerodynamics and power units. Given the team's track record and the data-driven approach they employ, achieving such a breakthrough appears plausible, but the actual outcome will be revealed on the racetrack in 2024. Do you think Mercedes can bounce back? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you in the next one.